maybe others, some facts maybe you already know, so maybe you can digest. So now, you want to meditate first or you want to discussion first? Now we will have the 2 hours for discussion and meditation practice. So would you like discussion first?
I'm for discussion first.
Discussion first.
Whatever.
So first we should understand what is the meditation, what is the practice, and then we should understand what is the main purpose of the practice. So you can also participate in the discussion. So when you understand what is the meditation, what is the practice, you can remember what is the practice. That is, we call the very full part. We call this kind of practice. Can you remember?
Three morality practice.
Three practice. That is morality practice, concentration practice, and wisdom practice. And body language we call sila, samadhi, panya. These three practices are helpful and conditioned to be free from suffering. So we will learn and practice these three qualities, sila, samadhi, panya. That is morality practice, concentration practice, and wisdom practice. First we should understand what is these three practices that are the way of ending of suffering, physical and mental. Morality practice means not to harm to others living beings because of our action, because of our speech. We are trying to find out the way to be free from suffering. So we should not cause suffering to others living beings. So generally we should take the 5 precepts or 8 precepts. We should not learn and practice about the meditation, that is sila, samadhi, panya. It will produce the defilements that are origin of sufferings. In fact, everyone should learn and practice about the morality, concentration, and wisdom. Because if people do not learn and practice this way, this practice, it will cause the defilements to be produced and it will lead to sufferings. So the opposite of these three practices is the development of defilements that are origin of suffering, causes of suffering. In fact, every people would like to be free from suffering. But people cannot be free from suffering because they are multiplying or producing the mental impurities or defilements that are origin of suffering. What are the defilements? Can you remember? That will cause suffering.
Greed, hatred, and ignorance.
So we should recognize the 3 defilements that are origin of suffering. In the practice, we will try to reduce these 3 defilements. Lobha, dosa, moha. Lobha means the craving or attachment about the object, about the situation. Dosa means anger or distraction about the object, about the situation. And then moha means ignorance or misunderstanding about the object or about the real nature of mind and body. So, by learning and practicing the meditation, you are trying to stop or reduce the origin of suffering. They are greed, anger, and ignorance. Lobha, dosa, moha. Can you understand? And this morning, using a discussion or meditation?
Discussion.
Discussion. What subject?
Different ones.
Huh?
Little different.
Yeah, morality.
Concentration.
Very random we do things.
So morality is taking the precepts, 5 precepts and 8 precepts. 5 precepts is clear to understand. That is not to harm to others living beings. But for taking 8 precepts, what is its purpose? Not having the dinner, not listening to the music or dancing, not using the luxury things. So what is the purpose of the 8 precepts or 9 precepts?
To reduce greed.
Sorry?
To reduce greed.
And to reduce the greed or attachment about the object, about the things. Most of the people have strong attachment about some kind of sensual pleasure or objects. Some people have strong attachment about their food, about their music, about the luxury things, about the perfumes, about the physical beauty, about the luxury bags, luxury chairs. So attachment to the sensual pleasure will be the hindrance in the practice. So we are trying to reduce some kind of attachment in the practice. So we should take not only the 5 precepts, but also the 8 precepts or 9 precepts. Do you take 5 precepts or 8 precepts?
9.
227.
Where are you from?
Netherlands.
And you?
From Spain.
Spain. And you?
France.
Huh? France. So we will go to the next practice. That is concentration practice. Concentration. Concentration means calmness or peaceful mind. In any kind of situation. To be the calm mind, peaceful mind, or equanimous mind in any kinds of situation, we need to develop the mindfulness, right? Mindfulness. Mindfulness means attentive awareness at the present moment. So to have the concentration, we need to develop mindfulness. To develop mindfulness, we need to understand the present moment. Because mindfulness should be at the present moment, right moment. But to understand the present moment, we need to understand the present contact or right contact of our 6 senses with their corresponding object. At the present moment, maybe at the downtown or in Yangon, maybe some event will be happening. But that event is not directly concerned about our 6 senses. So present moment should be concerned with our 6 senses. So what is happening now? Maybe now you hear my voice. So that is, you can say, hearing is happening now. That means the contact of my voice with your ear sense is happening. But you might pay attention to your hands touching to each other. Maybe for that moment, touching is happening now. Because your mind does not focus on my wife, and maybe she is trying to concentrate about the breathing. For that moment, the present moment happening is the contact of the breathing with her nostril area. It cannot be hearing consciousness. So what I mean is, the present moment happening will be arising depending on your mental choice or mental focusing. So later we should understand mindfulness will be arising depending on your mental choice or attention. So that means mindfulness means present attention or awareness depending on the content, present content of our 6 sensitivities with their corresponding object. So do you know about the 6 sensitivities? Yes? Any? No?
And our natural senses like
Senses.
ear,
Eye sense,
wisdom,
eye sense, ear sense,
nose sense,
nose sense,
taste sense,
and hand sense, and body sense, and mind sense. So 6 senses are happening in our life since the beginning of our life or birth. But at the beginning of our life is not studying yet about the eye sense, ear sense, nose sense. Because at the embryo stage, it is just a combination of liquids, that is combination of father sperm and mother eggs, and the life consciousness is arising because of the past karma. So what I mean is, these 6 senses are happening now, depending on the past karma and past ignorance. Depending on the Buddha teaching, the present life, present physical and mental nature can be arising depending on the past ignorance, past attachment, and past karma or past action. So now the present 6 senses are happening and they are coming in contact with their corresponding object. So mindfulness can be started at the moment of contact in our 6 sensitivities with their corresponding objects. Can you little bit discuss about what is the object of eye sense, what is the object of ear sense?
I sense you have the visible object. You sense you have sounds, smell, taste, food, whatever you taste. Anything touching your body or your thoughts.
So can you understand? Eye sense will contact with the visual object. Ear sense will come in contact with the sound object. And for the tongue sense, it will contact with the food or taste. What is the object of body sense?
Environment.
Touching or maybe temperature, climate, that is also contact.
Any sensation really doesn't matter the source.
Sorry?
The source doesn't matter, it's about the sensation.
Yeah, yes.
It can be rain, it can be heat,
Yes.
wind.
Yeah, so later we were trying to be mindful about the breathing. That is also contact. So that contact is what kind of object and what kind of senses?
Wind.
Wind. Wind is what kind of object? And the tangible object. And then touching the nostril area, that is body sense. And so this means at the moment of cis contact with their cis object, we will try to be mindful. But first five senses is physical nature, and five object is physical nature. And their result of contact is mental nature. Sound is physical nature. Eye sense is physical nature. But that contact of sound with the ear sense, what condition, what produce the hearing consciousness. And hearing consciousness is mental nature. Can you understand? So six senses. In six senses, five senses is physical nature and one sense is mental nature. In six objects, five object is physical nature and one object is mental nature. But the result of these contacts are all are mental nature. That means the contact of eye sense with visible object, it will produce seeing consciousness. Ear sense, physical nature, sound, physical nature, that contact will produce hearing consciousness, that is mental nature. And later I will use the whiteboard so you can go clear. But the sixth one is the mind sense, that is mental nature, contact with the mental objects, that is mental nature, it will produce the thinking consciousness, that is also mental nature. So that means mindfulness should be arising at every contact of our six senses with their corresponding object.
The mindfulness of, like, say, hearing consciousness is the hearing consciousness itself, or mind of consciousness of the hearing consciousness.
Sorry?
When you have when you hear something and hearing consciousness arises, so the mindfulness is of the hearing consciousness that arised already and passed away, or is it the hearing consciousness arising itself?
What do you mean mindfulness is?
Your awareness of the hearing consciousness is the hearing consciousness itself, or is it another consciousness on the hearing consciousness?
The observer, you can observe your hearing consciousness. So there's a distinction between you and not your hearing consciousness. When it enters your consciousness,
I cannot catch.
if you have two kinds of consciousness somehow. The one, the hearing consciousness, that is created by noise, and then there's something that becomes aware of the hearing consciousness. You can observe the hearing consciousness. So there are two consciousness.
That's mean mindful. Even the mindfulness is also consciousness.
That's thinking. That would be the mindfulness is a consciousness of thought consciousness, of the sixth sense of thought.
If it's a mental,
Huh?
if it's a mental nature, that means the fact that we hear, is it by the thought that we realize that we hear, or is it really the hear that hear?
Yeah,
what is it? What can become aware of the hearing consciousness of the object? Like what sense or what is it in us? What can become aware?
Well, what is awareing there?
Yeah. What is giving rise for the awareness?
Is it
Because
the
if-
mental or
if-
is it physical?
So because I sit here and something shows up through one of the consciousness, and I see this, but I'm not the hearing consciousness. I'm the observing consciousness that sees that the hearing consciousness is activated, for example. Right? I mean,
Like when we say to be mindful of every contact, right? Every contact
Yes.
of every. So the mindfulness action is an action that is after the action of hearing or seeing or touching, or is it that itself?
Yes. In fact, for example, sound arising. Generally, we try to be mindful about the external object. That is sound, that is smell, that is taste. So first, we will try to be mindful about the external object. External object. There are three conditions. Three conditions. What is happening now? What is for the sound arising? Maybe sound arising is also you can use as a meditation object, and then ESN is already there happening as impermanent nature, and that content will produce the hearing consciousness. So generally, we can be mindful the external object or mental arising about the hearing consciousness. In fact, the hearing consciousness is not only the one result. Maybe later, hearing and thinking and judging and feeling also consequences, mental nature will be arising. So you can be mindful of not only the sound arising, but also the feeling or judging or thinking or consciousness about the sound. You can be mindful.
so the mindfulness is a consciousness that registrates the hearing consciousness.
Yes. Mindfulness means attentive consciousness. Attentive consciousness about the result, about the product of the contact. For example, you eat the food. At the moment of touching, maybe first you are trying to be mindful about the taste. That is good, bad. That is meat or vegetable. That is delicious or not delicious. That is trying to be mindful about the external contact. And then later, you can be mindful about the feeling or judging or consciousness or mental arising, depending on the external object.
Once the contact happens, you're always too late, then the contact already passes.
Yes.
Your mindfulness follows
Yeah, exactly.
within the process.
Always discovers the past.
Yeah.
So there is many mindfulness about the maybe
Also,
system.
Yeah, when he says the consciousness arises when we have a visual object, and there's already within that thing, it happens so fast that there's the other four mental qualities, what he will explain maybe tomorrow, which are already there. Like it's so fast that we can, I think even the Buddha could not separate the consciousness from the following, like feeling and judging of corresponding object.
Yes, later if we discuss about the Western or right, Western practice, in fact, we cannot be mindful about the existence of the mind. Because one mind can arise at one moment. So that means, from the view of original truth, we can the mindful mind can be mindful only after the previous mind has already gone. For example, how to say, now sound arising, hearing consciousness arising. Right? You try to be mindful. At the moment of you trying to be mindful, what is hearing consciousness? Maybe the arising the mindful mind arising, the previous hearing consciousness has already gone. In physics, we learn about the thundering or lightning. Lightning, how to say, lightning, thundering. We hear the thundering sound. At the moment of hearing the thundering sound, how to say, lightning is already gone. But people are so fearful about hearing the thundering sound. But if you hear the thundering sound, no need to be afraid of. Because at the moment of hearing the thundering sound, the lightning has already gone. No need to be afraid of. Because lightning is already happened and the thundering sound is it can arise after the lightning has already gone. On the same way, in fact, we can be mindful only when the previous mind has already gone. Maybe at the moment of greed happening, maybe you try to be mindful. Maybe at the moment of being mindful or mindful mind arising, the greed cannot exist. It has already gone.
Is it that this mindfulness you can observe the change?
Yes.
You never observe the same thing. You watch an object and see it changing all the time.
Yes, you cannot observe the existence of the mind or things. You can be mindful about the impermanence or changing, about the nature.
Can we, like you say, the consciousness arises only when like our eyes meet a visual object? But if my eyes are closed and I see the black lid, is it also a visible object?
Although you are closing the eyes?
Yeah, or when I hear nothing, like I hear silence, it's also a sound. I cannot really stop this consciousness from arising. Or when I mean, if I don't eat anything, I have a neutral taste in my mouth. So also this consciousness is arising.
The six consciousnesses are always arising at any moment, but with the mindfulness we can focus on it. We become aware of it.
This means, although you are closing the eyes, you do not listen about the sound. Sometimes you can hear like that.
Yeah, no, it's still the consciousness is still arising. I can close my eyes.
Yes, of course.
And it's
because we can how to say, we can close the eye sense, ear sense, nose sense, tongue sense, but the body sense we cannot close totally because and then also mind sense we cannot close totally. And later I will discuss about what is mind sense. That is the life consciousness process that are arising depending on the past karma. That kind of life consciousness is arising at the moment of sleeping time, at the moment of faith or coma or embryo stage. So that means we cannot totally stop the six sensitivities and contacts. So that means consciousness cannot cease totally in our life.
So when I watch, for example, a flower, mindful, there's still sound going on, there's still feeling consciousness going on, but I'm actually not aware of it because I'm mindful towards the flower. but the things are still going on, and the body is registering this. Is this what we call the unconscious, or the things we are not aware of, but coming in anyway?
Definitely. Sometimes we try to be mindful about the breathing, but you hear my voice, you can feel about the breath. In fact, the knowingness or consciousness process can happen very fast. Although your mind is being aware about the breathing, that other objects can detect and come back to their breathing. So that means generally we think our mind can detect many things at one time.
Otherwise, something would never be able to drag your attention away from something because it's registered like one is predominant and the other five senses they are underneath. And then one becomes louder or more intense, and then it's taking your attention away to that. So they are always active somehow, but one is just like where you feel.
And since it goes so fast, you only can hook up on one, and you miss out on the others, but then something else takes your attention and you move your attention. You only can concentrate on one sense consciousness. Anyway.
At a time,
At the time, yes. Even if we try to be mindful, describing something, a flower for example, the consciousness moves between seeing and mind consciousness all the time, doesn't it?
At the moment of being
Seeing,
mindful about the scene,
and describing the flower, you describe it with mindfulness, so you use your mind sense plus your eye sense, but you can't use both at the same time.
yes,
You only use one
yes,
consciousness, one awareness, but this one is shifting very fast. Is it this what you mean?
yes. In my book,
it's like you hear and you see, you smell and taste at the same time.
No,
It's actually not at the same time.
No.
So if I'm looking at you and I hear you talk and I see you at the same
It's
time,
past already. Everything is gone. Everything you catch with
conscious.
your mind is already past. It's already gone.
but when I'm looking at someone listening, then I'm conscious about the visual and the hearing at the same time, right? So conscious about two.
It's not really at the
The
same
thing is,
time.
he's gonna explain this probably more, and so, but reality is actually updating about 22 trillion times a second. So it's like a movie, it's pictures. So that's why, and in this fast sequence, you change your attention from hearing to seeing, mindfulness, it goes very, very fast. It's like a quantum.
If you read a book, you have the one who is reading, you have the one who is making the story
Yeah.
in your mind, you have the one who is creating the emotion that you
Yeah.
like or you don't like, but I think it's not all in one, so it's one
Yeah.
after the other.
It's just so fast you think it's happening at the same time, but it's actually not.
It's just a movie.
in page 109, it is the whole life, the whole consciousness process happen in our five sense those. First 1, 2, 3 is about the life consciousness. Life consciousness is right on the Bhavanga. Bhavanga means life consciousness. That is look like the sleeping mind. That means not yet noticing about the object. So that means sorry.
This is the
Bhavanga. First mind is past Bhavanga. Past Bhavanga means the unconscious mind. That is not noticing mind about the object, like the sleeping mind. And then maybe the object is very large, the object is very clear, maybe that not noticing and noticing mind cease or stop, and it became the vibration going up, and rest, going up. That means first three consciousness is and noticing mind about the object, and then the fourth consciousness is starting to be aware. That is we call contact. Contact means the five rule avoiding, noticing mind will start. It is look like now you are falling asleep, maybe very soft sound arising, and you not wake up yet. Maybe very loud sound arising, and maybe you wake up. Generally, we think very loud sound arising, we awake very fast, but it is not awake very fast. It will be the step by step like that. First, noticing mind will arise, final avoiding, and then hearing consciousness will arise, and then receiving mind arise about the object, and then investigating mind will arise.
Is that perception?
Yes. Investigating is like the perception, and determination will arise. Determination means at the moment of hearing the loud noise, maybe you are mind judge, it is not good. You should not do like that. So maybe determination mind is like the sanya of perception, and it will produce 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is we call the javana. Javana means the karma. Volitional mind or wholesome or unwholesome mind will be produced in their stage, and then a registration, and then the process 6. So that's mean when the process will arise like that.
This from Abhidhamma?
Yes, that is depending on the Abhidhamma teachings. At the moment of now, how to say, generally hearing, just generally we say hearing consciousness happening. We always talk about the one kind of mind on the number 5. In fact, to be the 5 hearing consciousness, smelling consciousness, there are the before state and after state consciousness will happen. But how to say, in the practice, we cannot directly detect about these 70 stages, and maybe one stage or 2 stages you can be mindful, because this process is too fast.
So when you make a sound and I'm sleeping and my hearing consciousness, is it hearing it but my mind is sleeping, or why don't I wake up and do like this? If you do like this, I don't wake up. If you do like this, I wake up. Why? I mean, if there's hearing consciousness, it should also detect this, doesn't it?
This is not strong enough.
It doesn't take your attention.
Your condition is like, if you're very, very conditioned, that even a small sound can make you unpeaceful, and it will wake you up maybe.
But then is it hearing consciousness, or is it just hearing? Like your brain registers it, but it's not going through your consciousness. It's still staying subconscious, so you stay asleep. And the moment you wake up, you become conscious of the sound.
You're mindless when you're sleeping, and mindful when you're awake, I think. And when you're mindful, you can detect things. I mean, you can sleep and somebody can sneak up on you and you can feel it, your body and you wake up without something. So.
Yeah, when you say, like, I think he says that the hearing consciousness is arisen already in you, but then there are the later stages where you, like, the cognition is there. So you recognize it as hearing, and then your feeling comes in and you're judging. But I think the hearing consciousness, if you have the sound that arises anyway, and is followed by the other processes. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, because you still, your body is
So
still
while
alive.
sleeping, this also happens.
Feel things.
The hearing consciousness still arises.
It's always
other
there.
consciousness
It's
also
always
arises while sleeping.
attentive, yeah.
Sorry,
While sleeping,
while sleeping,
Yeah.
while sleeping.
and say I'm sleeping and different noises are around me, but I'm still sleeping. So that the hearing consciousness also arises, but I'm still sleeping. Is it like that?
The intensity of objects also affecting the rising of the consciousness. And now even the teaching, maybe the teacher voice is very loud, very clear, consciousness can happen clearly. Maybe the teacher voice is very short and very not clear, you become sleepy or how to say, become boring. So that means the intensity of objects also affecting the consciousness arising.
But the consciousness arises anyway.
Consciousness arises depending on the object, and then the intensity of object, the big or small, also affecting the consciousness stage. Maybe if you see the elephant instantly, and if you see the mosquito, maybe the seeing consciousness stage cannot be same. If you see the bit things, if you see the Shwe Pagoda, that just means you see the very very clear, very big visual object. When you see the small bang, you not excited. So that means the harm big or harm intensity about the object also affecting the consciousness process. So next step, we will go to what is wisdom brightness. Wisdom. In fact, wisdom means also trying to understand how the physical state, mental state are happening, and they are conditioning, and they are affecting, and their results. So that is helpful for the wisdom practice. So for the concentration practice, we will try to develop mindfulness at the present moment. But to have the wisdom practice, we need to understand about the real nature. And fake nature. That means for the wisdom practice, we need to understand what is real as real, what is not real as not real. What is causes as real cause, what is real causes as real causes, what is real result as real result. If we do not understand what is real as real, what is not real as not real, we cannot say we have that insight or wisdom. So that means if we want to be the brightest about the wisdom or insight, we need to understand about the reality, about the truth. There are two kinds of truth we need to understand. They are creator truth and original truth. For the wisdom practice, we are trying to understand creator truth as creator truth and original truth as the original truth. Can you understand what are the creator truth? So what are the creator truth? So can a little bit discuss about what are the creator truths?
Soe Win Htut is creator truth.
Yes?
That everything is in pain.
The apparent truth,
Huh?
the apparent thing.
Yes. A creator truth means apparent truth or fake truth that is not truly existing in nature if we can analyze by insight. But if we cannot analyze by insight or wisdom, it appears to be real. Now, what is your name?
And Julia.
Huh?
Julia.
Julia. So what is Julia? So you can see your face, your body in the mirror, and you can ask by yourself, Is your hair Julia? Is teeth Julia? Is nail Julia? Is far Julia? Is skin Julia? Is bone Julia? Maybe if you can see inside your body, maybe the stomach is Julia, is bone Julia, is liver Julia, is maybe intestine Julia, is lungs Julia. So if we can analyze by one, we cannot find out the Julia. Julia is just a naming or just a naming, just a labeling for a combination of different items or different organs together. I give the example is the cake or car. Cake is not the original existence in nature. The car is not the original existence in nature. But why the cake or car arising in nature? Because people created, we combine a lot of ingredients. Maybe sugar, butter, wheat, egg, soda, and other ingredients. So which ingredient is cake? Is sugar cake? Is butter cake? Is wheat cake? Is egg cake? Is soda cake? Is salt cake inside? So we cannot find out the cake. Cake is just a labeling or naming for the combination of a lot of ingredients. So that means Julia, someone, okay, something, just a concept or apparent truth or created truth. Created truth are not truly existing in nature. They are just a labeling or just a naming. But we cannot analyze by insight or wisdom. They will appear to be real. Later I will discuss about the 7 kinds of created truths. So we should understand something, someone, individual, I, mine are created truths or apparent truths. So created truths are not truly existing in nature. So we should not think these created truths are real and we should not attach to them. That means we are trying to detach about the created truth and we are trying to use the created truth in the right way, beneficial way. So that is wisdom about the created truths. Money has the creative value. Money is just a paper. But we will use the money in a beneficial way. But we do not attach about the money and we do not reject about the money. So to have the wisdom, we should understand created truth as created truth, and created truths are just for using only, without attaching or rejecting. The art, the wall, is not belonging to someone or some group. But people try to occupy, it is my land, it is my place, it is my country, it is my area. But it is not real from the view of original truth. But from the view of apparent truth or created truth, you can say Spain is my country. France is my country. But you think that is real, I, mine. You have strong attachment and you take so serious and someone criticizes about your place, your country, you feel angry or you feel just frustrated. Because you have the misunderstanding, created truth as reality and you take serious about them. In fact, created truths are just for using only, without thinking as reality or without taking serious.
But it is necessary for the created truth to exist, because it makes life simple.
Yes, yes.
And we can categorize and we can do things with life.
Yes, the rules and regulation, terms and conditions, they are also created truth. We will use the rules and regulation. We will use the government law. We do not reject about the rules and regulation that are just a created truth. But we should not attach about the rules and regulation. Rules and regulation are just for using only for the peace and harmony or doing their function peacefully. Now in our country, we try to change the constitution or rules in 2008. In fact, rules or regulation are just for using only for the helping the people or for protecting the people from bad people or selfish people. But someone use the law for harming the people or how to say bullying the people. Rules and regulation is not a sense. So that's been created rules are just for using only for the peace and harmony to each other. But created rules or rules and regulation are not helpful and maybe harmful to the society. We should consider about the created rules. We should follow or not. Even the tradition, culture, they are also created rules. Tradition, culture are not harmful about the peace and harmony in the society. We should not, no need to be rejected. But even the tradition, culture are harmful in for the peace and harmony in the society. We should consider about the tradition or culture. So created truths are just for using only, without taking serious or without attachment. And then we should understand about what is the real truth, original truth. For the Western practice, we should understand created truth as created truth and original truth as original truth. If you can understand created truth only, it is not enough for the Western practice. So we should understand what are the original truth or real truth. Can you remember what are the real truth? Original truth.
Life is suffering.
Huh?
Life is suffering.
Life is suffering. Yes. But not only like that. Tree. Can you remember?
Physical nature.
What is life? If we can analyze what is life, we can understand life is just a combination of physical nature, mental nature, and then nature is not only about the life, not only about the physical nature and mental nature, but also inclusive the Nirvana nature. That is beyond our normal perception. So first we should understand what is original truth, what is original nature. There is three kinds of nature. They are physical nature, physical truth. Second is mental nature, mental truth. And third is Nirvana nature or Nirvana truth.
What? There's one?
Nirvana nature.
Nirvana.
Nirvana. Physical nature and mental nature are impermanent nature, changing nature or suffering nature, but the Nirvana nature is the end of suffering, the end of impermanent nature.
So Nibbana is outside the frequency. Outside the frequency.
Frequency.
The pictures. When you explain how reality is moving forward, it's made out of small pictures. A small 22 trillion seconds or something frequency.
Yes.
So Nibbana, is it in this?
Beyond.
It's beyond. Nibbana doesn't change. It is not in this.
Nibbana is nothing permanent. It's permanent.
Yeah, maybe the change is permanent. Maybe the frequency is permanent.
It's not that I know anything about Nibbana.
So it's beyond.
Nice text for you later.
So these physical nature, mental nature, nibbana nature, we call original truth, real truth. The truth means that is always true, regardless of time or situation or religion or culture or any situation. Physical nature and mental nature will be always true, eternally true, as impermanent nature or ever new impermanent nature. So, physical nature or mental nature will be eternally true or always true as impermanent nature, changing nature, or arising and ceasing nature. On the other hand, the nibbana nature will be always true or eternally true as permanent nature. So there will be three nature that is always true. So we call these three nature original truth or noble truth. Noble truth means these nature can be realized by noble mind or purified mind. So we call noble truth. Now we will analyze more details about what are the physical nature, physical truth, and what are the mental nature, mental truth. So what are the physical nature? Was it discussed or not?
Yes.
What are the physical nature? This gap is if you criticize about this gap, he will not be angry because he has no consciousness, no feeling. So that means that carries physical nature.
It's the elements.
Huh? Sorry?
The physical nature is made out of the elements, the four elements.
Yes, physical nature is the combination of four elements or four energies. And they are fire, water, wind, earth elements. These four elements are basic physical nature. But others, some kind of physical nature are also existing as physical nature. Maybe sound is also physical nature. Sound, smell, light, maybe taste. They are also physical nature. Honestly, the five objects: vision, sound, smell, taste, touch. They are also physical nature. Physical nature are just the physical nature. We should not think physical nature as I, mine, or personal belonging, or individual belonging. That is wisdom. When you think physical nature is I, mine, or my body, or personal thing, that is ignorance. That is misunderstanding. So, if you have the wisdom, or if we want to have the right understanding, we should understand physical nature as physical nature. And later, we will try to analyze physical nature just impermanent nature, changing nature, or conditional nature, and non-self nature. But we should not think them as a certain belonging or I and mine. That is, make sense to realize about their physical nature. Physical nature cannot arise by itself. They can arise depending on their respective condition. The so-called our body is physical nature or mental nature. Our body, physical or mental, physical nature. Our body cell, our physical energy are permanent or changing. Changing. Why they are changing? Maybe your appearance, maybe physical nature, is still remaining along the timeline of changing or aging. Aging. Why they are changing or aging from moment to moment? Why?
Because of conditions. That's how it is.
Yes, our physical nature, our body cannot exist by itself. In this condition, do we continue? Do we change? Maybe we eat food every day. Let's make food or nutrients, the temperature, climate, the past karma, past action, and our mind are affecting or conditioning our body soul, bodily nature to be continued, to be renewed. So that means they are conditioned. The food is impermanence. So the result of the food, our body cell cannot be permanent. It is changing. So physical nature are just the impermanent process, impermanent nature. They are not personal belonging. They are not self. So our body cell, our physical nature can continue depending on their respective condition, food or temperature or past action or mindset. So that means physical nature are just the conditional nature, conditional process. We should not think conditional nature as I, mine, or personal belonging. So that is wisdom or right understanding. Maybe now we will meditate together for 40 minutes, and then we will later 30 minutes we will discuss about what are the mental nature, because maybe too much facts maybe you cannot recognize. So my discussion, too many facts or huh? It's okay. So maybe 3-minute breaks now. And then we will meditate together for